Good afternoon. We're ready to get started. I'm George Guastello, President and CEO of Union Station, and welcome back to Kansas City's visual voice under our historic clock, where we've witnessed many important moments in Kansas City's history and community, and today is no exception. You know, 1 year ago, the first case of COVID was being reported in our community and our nation. And 1 year ago, in this very spot, the four core jurisdictions that came together in this historic collaboration announced a community guidelines meant to slow the spread and manage through what has become one of the most damaging and tragic non-wartime events in our lifetime. Union Station was here for the first pandemic, and we're here again today under this historic clock. And 1 year ago, we all took note, took action, and saved countless lives, thanks to the individuals behind me and the leaders in our community. Today, these elected officials gather again to commemorate 1 year of fighting COVID-19 and to recognize the impact this pandemic has had on our community, and to honor everyone in this community's resilience as we've dealt with the last year. Now, will you please welcome our first speaker, Mayor David Alvey of the United Government. David.
Thank you, George. Just 1 year ago, on March 11th, I traveled to Topeka to join a press conference with Governor Laura Kelly to announce that Kansas had experienced its first death from COVID, a Wyandotte County resident who became very ill very quickly and passed quickly. Just a few days later, we announced a state of emergency for Wyandotte County. And just 1 week later, I joined Chairman Eilert, County Executive Frank White, and Kansas City, Missouri Mayor Quentin Lucas here at Union Station to announce a metro area stay-at-home order. As I reflect on those early moments of the pandemic, I recall the uncertainty, the drive to learn as much as we could about this new coronavirus. I recall the real fear that we felt for the health and lives of our communities. I recall as well our reluctance to take measures that we knew would affect the livelihoods of so many. But I also recall the determination, the commitment of so many to do what was necessary to protect public health. I recall as well the real hope that we all experienced and shared, that if we simply followed the science, if we simply mustered the political will to do what was right for our citizens, that we could prevent loss of life and health and restore a sense of regularity. Insofar as we mustered the political will, we made tremendous progress. On behalf of the people of Wyandotte County, I want to take this moment to thank Julianne Van Loo, our Public Health Director, all the members of the Wyandotte County Public Health Department. Especially I want to thank Dr. Alan Greiner, Dr. Aaron Corovo, Mr. Doug Bach, our County Administrator, and his staff. I'd like to thank Mr. Bob Bennett and so many more in our community who came together to protect public health. Our business leaders, our pastors, school superintendents, teachers, first responders, UG departments, social and mental health providers. The list is long. It goes on and on. And I want to take a moment as well to thank Chairman Eilert, Mayor Lucas, and Executive White for all the ways in which we collaborated to take this on as a regional effort. We are not done yet. There is more fight left, but we are stronger, wiser, more nimble, and that is always a good thing to say. Thank you.
Thank you. 21 years ago, the community came together to save this building through the leadership of the individuals behind me. Now they came together to save lives again. It's my great pleasure to introduce to you one of our very first chairmen of the bi-state, and Chairman Ed Eilert of the Johnson County Board of County Commissioners. Ed.
George, thank you very much. I have many, many memories from Union Station. My father-in-law was an employee here for 25 years, and it was my opportunity to serve on that first commission after the successful election. So once again, a year later, we gather here and in harmony and remember the last 12 months. I want to introduce those who are with me here today who have been part of our effort. County Manager Penny Postoke Ferguson, Assistant County Manager Joe Connor, our Director of Public Health Department, Dr. Sami Arola, Dr. Joseph Lemaster, who's our Public Health Officer, was unable to be here today. And there are many, many more who have brought us to this point today. And I think it goes without saying, the last 12 months has been, we on the elected side of the dais have had to deal with issues I never anticipated the kind of decisions that we would be required to make. But working together, we were able to make those decisions. Our first responders, our MEDAC, our fire, our police, our school districts, our teachers, the chambers of commerce, our business community, and our community at large all came together to bring us to this point. I also want to remember the 638 residents of our county, Johnson County, who passed away as a result of COVID-19. And there were many, many more in our metro area that we should remember. Our hearts go out to their families and friends for the losses that they share. Fortunately, today, I think we are on a different trajectory than we were a year ago. The vaccines are available and become more available every week that we go on. Every county, every jurisdiction in the metropolitan area is actively involved in providing those vaccines. And I would encourage all of our residents, get vaccinated. It will make a difference. It will benefit our community, and it will allow us to return to that normal life sooner than later. So thanks to everyone who's been involved in this effort. We would not be here without that help. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairman Eilert. We are in Jackson County, and it is my great honor and pleasure to introduce to you County Executive Frank White, Jr. Frank?
Thank you, George, and good afternoon, everybody. I appreciate the opportunity to be with you today in this historic place, Union Station. Thanks to George and Union Station for hosting us again and providing the space for the Floral Wall of Remembrance. I would also like to thank my fellow chief elected officials that are here today, and the Core 4, Mayor Alvey, Chairman Eilert, and Mayor Lucas. Thank them for their leadership. Many tough decisions have been made over the past year. I commend you for standing up and doing what was right for our community, even though it was unpopular, and those decisions never are popular, but they were decisions that had to be made, and everyone here stood up and made those decisions. I'm grateful for the support of Jackson County Legislature for helping us get through this with great decisions and being good partners. And today I have with us 6th District Legislator Teresa Galvin. Thank you for your support. And also members of my executive team. You cannot get it done without those folks. A lot of hard hours, a lot of long hours, a lot of phone calls, a lot of discussions. And I'd like to recognize my Chief of Staff, Caleb Clifford, who's here, and also my Chief Administrative Officer, Sylvia Stevenson, who's with us today also. I'd also like to, last but not least, thank our County Health Department Director, Bridget Schaefer. Bridget and her staff, they worked tirelessly throughout this pandemic. And you guys fought through all the uncertainty, all through the negativity, all through the criticism, with dignity, grace, and respect. And I know you will continue to do this until this pandemic is over. Thank you for your sacrifices you made. Thank you to your staff. Thank you for protecting us. Thank you for a year of heroic efforts. And if everyone would join with me just for a short hand applause to Bridget and her staff at the Jackson County Health Department and all the health departments throughout our region who work tirelessly to keep us safe. Over a year ago, an unfamiliar virus showed up in our community and changed our lives forever. We had to stay home, we had to social distance, and we had to wear masks. Many of us got sick with COVID and survived. Unfortunately, many more did not. We have lost hundreds of lives far too soon in Jackson County, including 2 members of our own team. Robert Bobby Mitchell served 16 years as an electrician. He was a father of 3. His family was his passion, especially his 2 grandsons. He loved adventure. He loved riding his Harley across the country to all 50 states and fulfilling a dream of spending 1 month in Australia. Bobby Mitchell lived life to the fullest. He was 56 years old. Joellen Engelbart served more than 5 years as assistant prosecutor. She had a passion for public service and protecting those who are most vulnerable. Her life was just beginning, excited about starting a family with her husband. Joellen's son was delivered premature in December, just 4 days before she passed away. She was 32 years old. This deadly virus has caused so much pain and suffering in the 2 states, the 6 counties, dozens of cities, and hundreds of communities we represent across the metro. But as we gather to mourn and celebrate the lives of those we have lost, I find comfort in the lessons I've learned through my faith. For Scripture taught me that glory can be found in our sufferings, because through our sufferings, we learn perseverance. Through perseverance, we learn character. And through character, we learn hope. We can choose to build back a better, a stronger, and more equitable community. We can do so to honor those we have lost and the generations to come. But if we are to be successful, We must do so together. Together. May God bless the memory of those who have died, those who are protecting us, and this city, this county, and the country we love. Thank you.
Thank you, County Executive White. Now it's my distinct pleasure, last but not least, the Mayor of Greater Kansas City, Mayor Quentin Lucas.
I want to say how much of an honor it is to be back with all of you. I do want to make one correction. Mr. Costello noted that we were here 21 years ago to help jumpstart, restart this wonderful facility. I want to make sure I give credit to Ed Eilert for his dedicated service for decades to Johnson County, to this region, to our community. And so thank you, Ed, for being part of reopening this building, being part of so many important issues as Mayor of Overland Park and Johnson County, and working with all of us through this crisis and hopefully well into the future. I also want to say something special about the people who are here with me. Early in this crisis, we heard a lot of things. All types of information, all types of scientific information, political opinions, everything under the sun. But what we weren't hearing was clarity. What we weren't hearing, as Mayor Alvey notes, is the science. What we weren't hearing is that which needs to be done. But this group was clear in saying that this is important, that we have to work together, and that even if a rule may change or be different, we're going to take COVID-19 seriously. We made sure that we amplified that message, not just in Jackson County or in Wyandotte County or in Johnson County. We amplified that message throughout a region. A few months ago, I had the chance to go to Fort Leavenworth, Kansas, and was visiting with folks on the military base. And a general there had stopped me and said, "How did you all manage to work together to get out certain messages? We listen to them every day." Not a Core 4 jurisdiction, not a Core 4 county, but somebody that heard our voices, somebody that heard our messages. In my office, I got another letter from a school teacher in Maryville, Missouri, who said much the same thing. Thank you all for making sure that we could hear, that our community could hear, how important it is that we do things like wear masks, how important it is that we have social distancing, and how important it is that we care about fundamentally saving lives. And so I thank these gentlemen who are with me and everyone that we've already mentioned today. I also thank them for our sometimes very interesting conversations. Usually when you talk about regional cooperation, we get a chance to talk about things like sports parades, all types of other celebrations. We had tough conversations. We had good conversations. And fundamentally, we had important conversations, recognizing that our goals were to save lives, even if it wasn't a constituent, even if it was somebody who lived miles and miles away. We wanted to make sure that if there was somebody that was out at the Legends, if there was somebody who was out in Lee Summit, somebody right here in Union Station, that we were doing all we could to make sure that they were safe and that their families were safe. We continue to amplify that message today as we talk about vaccines, working together once again to talk about vaccine rollouts and processes and to get ideas, to make sure that there's no pride in ownership. Instead, there's a pride in saving lives as we work together in this next phase of the pandemic. So although we recognize 1 year, we also recognize today that we have more work to do over the year ahead. How we responsibly reopen, how we recover, how we continue to share important scientific and medical advice. And I know a partner that I've had in connection with this was somebody that I knew as a councilman and someone that we've all known as health director for probably about 21 years. And that's Rex Archer. And when I first got elected to city council in 2015, Dr. Archer talked to me about pandemics and our need to be better prepared and investment in public health. Not enough people listened to him. Not then, not in this pandemic. And I hope with this moment, we do listen to Dr. Archer. We do listen to all of our health directors and see how we can be better prepared either for the next pandemic or for the daily crisis that we face in our communities. I want to make sure I say a special thank you to Dr. Rex Archer, and let's give him a round of applause for his work. In Kansas City, Missouri, we also had, it was interesting. I was elected mayor in August 2019. We got an acting city manager in about November of 2019, and then we ran into a pandemic. Ernest Rouse is not here today, but he was someone who listened, who worked with us, who made sure that we were addressing every need, every change we had to make at City Hall. We thank him so much for it. And throughout that process, we also hired a new city manager who came from New Jersey and who has brought us a number of different ways that we could address this crisis, new ideas, fresh ideas, but more than anything, a concern for the safety and the health of our community, and that's our city manager, Brian Platt. But the other thing that has been interesting about this crisis is how many people stepped up. The interpreter next to me, those of you in the media, everyone in our communications departments at our cities and counties and health departments, all of us cared about making sure that others could stay safe. Don't forget that generosity that we had. Don't forget about that concern that we had. Things may get back to some semblance of normal. Some folks want it to come even faster than perhaps they should. But we also remember that we care about others. We take these steps because we're worried about our friends, our families, and folks we've never met. So remember that as we go forward. And I'll finally wrap with this, sharing what Chairman Eilert said, County Executive White, and others. There are many who lost their lives to this virus. Many families were touched. There are many others who suffer today. We will not forget you. We will not forget your pain. And we will work our hardest for as long as necessary to make sure that other families, other friends, don't have to suffer that very same pain. Thank you all very much.
Well said, Mayor. I looked at the script and I was really hoping I didn't have to talk after you. You speak so eloquently, and thank you for being on our board of directors and helping us lead Union Station in the future. We appreciate that very much. Now, before we go any further, it's most appropriate under this historic clock and in these hallowed halls that we pause for a moment of silence to honor and remember those lives we have lost to COVID. Would you please join me in that moment of silence now? Thank you. Finally, behind me you will see this Floral Wall of Remembrance, created by Dan Miner's Studios. Each of the leaders here today have a message to place on this remembrance wall. And we would like all of Kansas City to come down and leave a note under in this historic wall and under this historic clock of your remembrance of the people that you lost and those that have supported the fight over the last year. We welcome everyone. Now I would invite the leaders that have helped us through this pandemic to be the first to put their note on this wall of remembrance. Gentlemen.